So I rewatched the game last night, and I gotta say, there were two very different Indiana Fevers that played last night, and ironically, both versions of the Indiana Fever were okay. Like, I don't think the Indiana Fever did badly in any way last night. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We are trying to hit 53.4k subscribers today. We are 17 off. And again, lads, it is currently like 30 degrees Celsius in Ireland with no aircon, humidity of New York, and what you call it, humidity of the same humidity as New York, and in a house with walls built to keep heat in. So I am super, super hot. Anyway, we got to talk about it. We have got to talk about this game because it was a game of two halves. And ironically, if the Indiana Fever didn't double the post every possession and double off Jordan Canada, allowing Jordan Canada to score 26 points in the first half, they're up big at halftime. Or the game's over at halftime if Kelsey Mitchell doesn't cook. And the first half was the Kelsey Mitchell show. It was the Kelsey Mitchell show. Like, Aaliyah Boston goes into halftime with 5 points. And her only basket being a 3-point shot. A 3-pointer was Aaliyah Boston's only basket in the first half. She did not touch the ball in the post. Caitlin Clark goes into halftime with... Sorry, that's the second quarter. Did Aaliyah score in the first quarter? Sorry, she goes into halftime with 9 points. In the second quarter, her only shot was a 3-pointer. Caitlin Clark goes into halftime with 4 points, 5 assists. And Jordan Canada's obviously cooking them. But it was the Kelsey Mitchell show. It was this team goes where Kelsey Mitchell goes. And the Indiana Fever, in my opinion, the Indiana Fever can win games playing like that, but it can't be while Caitlin Clark is on the floor. Because if Caitlin Clark is on the floor, it needs to be your secondary. It needs to be your secondary. And I think the fact that Kelsey Mitchell can still go and do that is important. But at the same time, I think it's even more important to realize who your options are and who your best player is, and that is good old Caitlin Clark. But yeah, the first half was a grind down, gritty game, and the Indiana Fever, I thought, did a really good job of that. And that's one thing. The Fever, they didn't out-grit. They did out-grit. I'm sorry, Jordan Canada. It was a Jordan Canada masterclass, and it worked, but it was ugly basketball. Early on in the game, it was really, really ugly basketball. And they managed to stay in it playing ugly basketball. The problem is that there is one player on your team that just does not play well playing ugly basketball. There's multiple. Caitlin Clark does not play well in ugly basketball, and Lexi Hull does not play well in ugly basketball. I think Sophie can kind of fit into any style of basketball. I think Aaliyah, as much as Aaliyah's first half points, she had 9. What did she have in the second half? Her fourth quarter, she had 10 in the second half. And were all that in the fourth? 8 of them were in the fourth quarter. And, that was the big thing. And, if you look at the second half again, fourth quarter, plus 14 for Caitlin, plus 13 for Dantas, plus 13, plus 13, plus 8 for Aaliyah before she fouls out. It really was a case where the Indiana Fever looked like two separate teams. And I think they are two separate teams. They're not... the Indiana Fever are not a terrible grinded out team. They're not a team that's going to compete for anything grinding it out. But they can win a game. We saw it against the Lynx. We saw it against the Aces when they just made it gritty. We saw it at the start of the year against the Atlanta Dream. And the Indiana Fever, when a team tries to make it gritty and physical with them, the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White's tactic is to make it gritty and physical back, which, in my opinion, is the wrong way to go about it. I think Stephanie White's job should always be to impose their play style on other teams and to try running, because that is how, one, the team is going to be better long-term doing that, and two, You know the way there's like 18,000 fans in the stadium? By the way, those fans get equally as loud for a crazy Caitlin Clark assist as they do for a Caitlin Clark long ball, by the way. Those assists, her sprinting the floor and dumping it off to somebody, her going coast to coast. We all talk about the long threes, but it is equally as exciting to watch her run. There are two distinct styles of play the Indiana Fever have, and one of them is like watching paint dry, and one of them is the best show in sports. And the coach wants to play the style that watches paint dry. And by the way, like, you can make the argument that they're not going to win a championship by running. They're definitely not winning a championship by walking the ball up the floor. They're definitely not winning a championship. And it's funny because we saw it happen last year. So if you guys remember last year's games, I need to see Fever 2024. Or I need to see, because Kelsey Mitchell. There was a game where Kelsey Mitchell last year played no minutes in the second half. And then she turns it all around. So pre-Olympic break, it was very clear that they had moved away from Kelsey Mitchell. So Kelsey Mitchell, if you look at the... I'm going to go game log here. And this might have been that game. So if you look at 2024, there was a game where she played this game here, was it? I think it was this game here. She played 21 minutes, and I don't know. Did she play in this? No, she did play in the second half. One of these games. Was it Seattle? There was a game where she did not play in the second half. I just didn't play her. Or she played the first 5 and got subbed off for the rest of it, and they won. Or they were much better when she was off the floor. With that, when that happens, like, the team was better when she became an off-the-ball player. And Kelsey Mitchell needs to realize that there's no point in fighting against Caitlin Clark. There's no point in fighting against the Caitlin Clark system. If you fighting against the Caitlin Clark system is the reason why you are -3 in a 17-point win. That this grit and grind, ISO ball system might get you your buckets. It might get you your buckets. You're averaging 20 a game. It's going to get you your buckets. But let's not forget, Caitlin wants to pass you the ball. Caitlin Clark wants to pass the ball to you. Like, she literally wants to pass you the ball every single possession. But at the end of the day, if you want to go on ISO, like if you watch, I want you guys to watch as well. There were some games post Olympic break last year for the Fever where, I'm not joking you, if Kelsey Mitchell didn't have a wide open 3-point shot or a wide open layup, she would run away from the basket to give the ball back to Caitlin because she knew she was getting the ball back. And that is how the team needs to play. I don't care how many points Caitlin Clark scores. And I don't think the Indiana Fever players care. But when Caitlin Clark, ironically, when Caitlin Clark is being played off the ball, she's selfish. When she's playing on the ball, she's not selfish. When she has the ball in her hands, she is far from being selfish. And I think that the Fever need to realize that things go well if you just give Caitlin the ball. You allow her to play, and everyone runs with her. Because if you try to fight against Caitlin Clark, you get a -3. And by the way, like, they won the game in the second half because of Caitlin Clark's aggression. They won the game because of Caitlin Clark's aggression. Let's be honest. In the third quarter, they were scoring, but when Caitlin Clark is aggressive, this team becomes infinitely harder to guard. Infinitely harder to guard. And we have to talk about Ari running the wings, Sophie running the wings, Dantas spreading the floor, Aaliyah gets open looks. And the problem with Kelsey is Kelsey literally had an efficient 25 points. But that style of play was very different. And by the way, Kelsey kept them in the game. Kelsey kept this team in the game. But ironically, it was taking Kelsey and Natasha Howard off that changed it. It was a switch. It was like a switch in the second half. And by the way, Caitlin was not good in the third quarter. Caitlin herself was not good in the third quarter. But it was just that aggressive switch. It was that aggressive switch that changed everything. It changed everything. It changed the looks the team were getting. It changed the Like, it changed again, the looks team we're getting. It changed how the team played. It changed the way the Atlanta Dream, it changed how tired, well, it made the Atlanta Dream exhausted. They were absolutely exhausted. They had to give everything to just chase back with them. It didn't allow the Atlanta Dream to be physical with them. And yes, the Indiana Fever did not have as many isolation baskets. But you've got ISO play. You've got Kelsey who's turning into an ISO player. And by the way, I think Kelsey Mitchell has been good. I think she's been real good this season. But it is very clear, like, she's getting close to turning into Monte Ellis, and the Fever can't have that. But anyway, I'll see you guys.